Hello, and welcome to Staring into the Abyss. I'm your host, Richard Gerlach. With me, as always, is Matt Brandenburg.
Hey, I think everybody's a lizard person. Maybe I'm a lizard person.
Oh, hey. 1 second, Matt. We're not getting into anti-Semitism on this podcast, Matt.
Wait, is that what that means?
Yeah, the whole lizard person thing is if you dive deep into the conspiracy of lizard people, it was created by David Icke.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I apologize for that.
Like the idea of a secret lizard people is funny, but once you realize it was created by David Icke to call out Jewish politicians.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I had no idea. Holy crap. Well, we learned something right from the start.
Yep.
I did not mean any of that. I just meant inside job from Netflix.
Right. Yeah, I thought we were just all
It's a really good show.
I thought we were all just, stuck in the static here.
Well, coming from the static is a villain I missed.
I'm
disrupt
in the
us
static.
with the anti-Semitism talk. But no, for real, the lizard people thing comes from David Icke.
That is craziness. I did not know that.
Do you remember back in like 2006 or 2007 when like Opie and Anthony were still a really big thing?
Yeah.
Like this still sticks in my mind. Like Opie and Anthony is still a really big thing. They had Louis C.K. as a guest on one episode.
Oh no.
And they got an interview with Donald Rumsfeld, where Louis C.K. kept on asking Donald Rumsfeld if he was a lizard person.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And like, regardless of how you feel about any of that now, especially Louis C.K. now, that whole bit of Louis C.K. asking Donald Rumsfeld if he was a lizard person was fucking hilarious. So like, the world's complicated. And this is coming from a Jewish person that's saying that.
Yeah, man, I had no idea. I really just thought it was some like ridiculous conspiracy that people were actually reptiles. I didn't know it went to something like that. Though I should have, because that's just where every theory comes from, right?
I was going to say every conspiracy theory kind of goes back to like the Jews are behind it.
Yeah.
Like even flat Earth. Like if you actually go to like a flat Earth convention, all those people are blaming Jewish people for the globe Earth conspiracy.
Oh my god.
Wow.
So. Like I'm not even joking. Like it's wild. Like almost every conspiracy theory we have now ties back to like Jewish people, which fucking sucks. Because like I remember when conspiracy theories are fun.
Yeah.
Like I remember the X-Files. Like the X-Files was great. Like
oh my god. Well, the more we know.
Yeah.
The more, and knowing is half the battle.
Yep.
Today we are going to be discussing the short story, "The Age of Decayed Futurity" by Mark Samuels, who recently has passed away.
Yeah.
And which is why I decided, I've heard rumblings of this author before, never read his stuff. I know what's its face, the publisher who's been putting out the Ligotti stuff.
Oh, like was it Cairo? I'm not.
Yeah, Cairo Priya. I think they put out his last book.
Did they? Huh?
Yeah, they put out Mark Samuel's last book.
Crazy.
I haven't read it yet. Obviously, this is the first story I've ever read by him.
Yeah.
But I first heard about him from like John Padgett and Matt Bartlett, and they were praising this author a lot. And then when he passed away, Matt Bartlett was posting a lot of stuff, and I'm like, I should probably check out this author. If Matt's like really tucking this author up, this is someone who I think I should check out.
Yeah, and like, it's funny because before the show we were talking about this wide spectrum of the horror writer community, and like, here's a name that like some people know, other people don't, and for some people it's huge, and then for other people it's not. So it's just fascinating, kind of, you have I'm gonna say 20-30 names that everybody kind of knows, but honestly there's a lot more that is out there, and you should always look. So this is one example of somebody who I know. I'm assuming they've been around for a while, but it's like I never heard of them.
Yeah, same. This is the first time I've
Speaking
heard of them.
Speaking of big authors, guess who I get to meet in August?
Who do you get to meet in August?
Billy Martin.
Really? Wow. Where?
Yeah, he's going to be a guest of honor at Necronomicon.
That's awesome.
You know who else is a guest of honor this year?
I don't.
Jeff Vandermeer.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So he's going to be the biggest curmudgeon. I'm fucking here for it. And Natalie Bolkin's also a guest of honor, too.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
You got to come over for Necronomicon sometime, Matt. It's a fucking great con.
It sounds like I do.
I'm actually doing 2 panels this year.
Nice.
One is about punk rock DIY ethos and how it's influenced weird fiction.
I love it.
Nice.
And the other is the Cthulhu mythos and heavy metal.
Perfect.
It sounds so perfect for you.
Like, these are 2 topics I'm fucking good for. Like,
yeah, you're like, I got this.
I'm actually moderating the Cthulhu mythos one.
Nice.
And the fucking Paul Tremblay is at that one.
That'd be cool.
And I'm like moderating Paul Tremblay, and I'm like, shit, I'm nervous about this.
It'll go great, I swear.
Yeah. It's like me, Paul Tremblay, Curtis Lawson, and a couple others.
Very nice.
Yeah, it'll be a fun time.
Yes.
I do think before we dive into this very esoteric short story, I think is a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
We're going to be using big words because this is a verbose story.
Yep, get out your dictionaries.
Yeah, no, Matt, fuck dictionaries. Get out your thesauruses. We're busting we're busting the thesauruses out for this one. But before we do that, we should go into some media recommendations. It's been a few weeks.
Yeah.
And you know me, and I'm going to try to keep mine brief. But I have one that I think you and I, Matt, can both talk about for a little bit to kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yes.
I finished Michigan Basement.
Nice. What'd you think?
It's pretty much Last Feast of the Harlequin.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good. Like I liked it. It's interesting to see how Ligotti would be in screenplay form.
Yeah.
And to try to picture how it would be like on the screen.
It's like tricky.
It is tricky because Ligotti is such a hard thing to capture, but I think this screenplay captured both his satirical humor really well.
Yeah.
The mundane aspect of his fiction really well. And it also ramped up the horror quite a bit, I felt.
Yeah, I think it did. I think it hit the horror stuff at the end. I mean, and it's interesting because it's what Mark Samuels. That's the other guy that wrote it with him.
No, it wasn't Mark Samuels. It was
What name did I just come up with? That's the person we're talking about.
We were talking about Mark Samuels. It was the same guy he wrote the X-Files screenplay with.
Yes, I guess the book is like so close. Oh wait, I can look at it.
I have it in the other room, so I can't.
Brandon
Trends.
So he wrote the intro to this, and the intro talks about how he's surprised at this, like they published this. He didn't think it would, and he's like, yeah, it's not the greatest, but it's good for Ligotti fans to read it, and he's right. It feels like they needed another draft. I would
not suggest this book unless you're like a Ligotti diehard.
Yeah, because it felt like they needed one more pass. There's a lot of loose threads and a lot of things that just didn't feel complete. And and he talks about it in the intro, they kind of were just going back and forth on doing this thing and writing it, and eventually they just sort of stopped. And it's too bad. I mean, I get it because nobody picked it up, but I think somebody could pick this up now and maybe do another pass at it, and it would be really cool because, like you said, there's a lot of great imagery and the horror's great. It just, I don't know. It felt like
one of my favorites is halfway through the screenplay when the main character and his girlfriend leave the building or whatever, and the text just describes like clowns everywhere.
Yeah.
And then it's just like 3 clowns hanging in the darkness smoking a cigarette. And I'm just like, that image is just such a sinister Ligotti image. Just like a clown in the dark alley smoking a cigarette is like so fucking Ligotti.
Oh god, yeah. I'm trying to remember if they talked about where, like, they pictured it on a coast of like Lake Michigan, I think. And so like I can kind of pick like it's fun to like kind of think of a town and like think about the old version of a town and then like the new version of a town, and then of course Michigan basements. Those are really creepy places to hang out and see bands play or just to have. They are I don't know if I mean, I'm assuming other states have to have basements like this, but I don't know. They're really famous.
I have never seen a Michigan basement in real life.
It's it's something else. No matter how many lights you put in there, because like for listeners, a Michigan basement is sort of, I mean, it's a basement, but like I would say up to like waist level of the walls are just stone, and they're not like clean stone. It's just dirty stone that they must have found around the neighborhood and then just put in, and then it kind of like levels out and then it's more stone, so like you kind of have like a built-in ledge, but it's all just stone, and the ground, like the floor is usually kind of a cement, but it's usually like even probably when they first built it way back when, it was cracked and dirty stone or dirty cement for the floor too, so they're just always dirty, and just that stone like absorbs light, so you could be, it doesn't matter if somebody's cleaned this place up and renovated the house, they don't take out that type of basement, it's always just going to be dingy dark stone. And you just like, you feel like when you go down in those, like the it's just always damp and always stuff, there's always like, because it's there, like dirt is just maybe coming through the walls. So like him doing a story titled Michigan Basement was very near and dear to my heart.
I believe that. Honestly though, I personally felt that this story was like Michigan Basement. I felt was a really good screenplay that had some issues with it. And if you're a Ligotti diehard, it's 100% worth reading. But if you're not a Ligotti diehard, I'd say it's not worth your money.
Yeah, don't let this one be your first, because you'll be turned off.
Oh, this would be a terrible first Ligotti.
Yeah, you need to read some other stuff and then kind of get into this just to see him do that. And like it came with it. Did you read the little, like, I don't know, it was like a zine that came with it?
I haven't read the zine yet. I ordered that with the Apocalypse poetry collection.
Okay.
So I've been going through the Apocalypse poems.
Nice. Yeah.
Which, you know, those are fucking happy.
Yeah, I know. It's like a gothy high school student poetry. I mean, I loved them because it's Ligotti, but like if you kind of read it from like another point of view, you're like, oh, this is like what a high schooler would have wrote if they're really depressed.
This is like My Chemical Romance lyrics.
But the zine like is interesting because it interviews him, and then like Paget does like a really good comparison between Session 9 and True Detective Season 1. And
I love Session 9.
Yeah, and apparently, I mean, like, and he does a really good job of comparing it to like a Ligotti, like the best version of a non-Ligotti story. And so like if that director, yeah, like Brandon, I think it's Brandon Anderson, if that director like saw this, like I think he could do another pass and make this a really, like it could be a movie.
Dude, Brad Anderson, the guy who did Session 9, his filmography is so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, have you looked at his filmography?
I think I have, like a couple of years ago, like because like
I love Session 9. I was like, I wonder what this guy did after Session 9 because like that movie is just it's one of my favorite horror movies.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I have it up right now. He did Session 9. Then he did The Machinist with Christian
Yeah.
Bale, the one where he like starved himself for the role.
Yeah.
Then he did Trans-Siberian with Woody Harrelson.
Okay.
Then he did Vanishing on 7th Street with Hayden Christensen and John Leguizamo.
Nice.
Then he did the Call with Halle Berry and Abigail Breslin.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Then like he just had like a really weird like director. Like he also directed episodes of Peacemaker.
Did he? Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
he directed one episode of Peacemaker.
Huh.
And he did that movie Fractured that was on Netflix with like Lily Rabe. But yeah, he's like I don't know, he went from like I think if he could do something Session 9 The Machinist again, it will be super cool.
Yeah.
Just like a low budget. And like a part of what makes Session 9 so good is like they had literally filmed it in an abandoned asylum.
Right.
Like I remember when the Danvers Asylum was still a building. They tore it down. It's condos now. But I remember when Danvers Asylum was real and abandoned, and they filmed the whole movie in there, which I think is kind of cool.
Yes.
It also has one of my favorite movie ending lines of all time.
Yeah. Oh,
But Matt, what about you?
yeah, so I like you said, it has been a couple weeks, so I will do my best. I read, well, actually, I'll cover this one first because it actually sort of ties to what we've been talking about, or what we're going to be talking about, and that is Ramsey Campbell's Ancient Images, which
Ramsey Campbell is such an interesting writer.
yeah. Yes, and this is yes. So this Flame Tree Press re-released this a couple years ago. It's a book from the late 80s, and it is basically about a movie filmed in England with Bela Lugosi and oh my goodness, why am I drawing a complete blank? Bela Lugosi and what's his name? What's the other guy? Oh
Boris
Lordy.
Karloff?
Yes, Karloff. So both of them in this movie that England was banning. They hated it. It was filmed back in like 30s or something like that, and they banned it, and it kind of got buried. And we're following this film editor, and her friend found a copy of this movie and mysteriously dies. And so now she is Sandy, who's our film editor. She is trying to find the movie again, or find another copy of the movie. It's kind of a little unclear on that, and she wants to in his honor. So that's kind of the basis of it. She's going to try to find this movie, and so she's kind of going back through his steps, this her friend's steps to find it. And it leads her to this little village on the coast of England, and it is called Redfield, and it's this very sort of weird folk horror kind of thing. And yeah, that's really the basic of this book, is just that. And it's all the people tied to the movie that are still alive don't want to talk about it. There's this like kind of newspaper film person who says that it should have stayed buried, and anyone who's looking for it is an idiot because it's a terrible movie and it's ruining our children and blah 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 blah. Even though no one's really seen this movie, it's fascinating. It's a bit slow because you're kind of going through a lot of travel. This is a map of England in this book. Sandy is driving from place to place to place, and we are getting lots of details about this driving and getting to these places. So like you could map out the whole process of what she did. So that's your cup of tea, then yeah, good for you. It's a good travel log. And there's little bits of just a lot of hints of something scary on the horizon, and that this like entity. There's something in the film that like nobody wanted you to see or wanted us to see. So you're always kind of getting these hints, and then when you kind of get the reveal, you're kind of like, oh, okay, it's just this one random image that's tied to this family in this small town. They have the same image, and you're kind of like, well, what's the point of this? Because it's not like the film director died mysteriously going to this town too, so it's like this whole thing. But like when you kind of like get down to it, like I said, it's just this one image that really doesn't say anything, but for whatever reason the family that has this image is not happy that they put it in a film, and so all this stuff is happening. But behind all that, there's a whole full core, every 50 years somebody's got to die and feed the land. So that's kind of fun, but that's not a really big part of it. So if you're looking for that kind of whatchamacallit, Wicker Man, Midsommar kind of thing, I wouldn't really point you to this, even though like reviews and stuff kind of talk about it being a full core thing. That's such a small part of it that you're just like, okay, like it's just in there.
It's the hook that's supposed to draw people in, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then you're kind of like, oh, okay. And even like the movie stuff, because I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm, Gemma Files, experimental film, and all these other session, or what was the Archive 81, and like all these things I really love. And even the story we read today that kind of deals with old Hollywood and movies and stuff like that, and TV, you're like, oh, I love all that stuff, and I'm hoping it's in this too. And it sort of is, but not really, because again, you do, spoiler alert for a book that came out in the 80s, they do see the movie, but again, even when you're like, they're describing what this movie is, you're just like, oh, okay, it's just an old black and white horror movie. I don't understand why it's so freaky, even to our main character. It's freaky to sit and watch it. So just a lot of weird stuff. But the funniest thing that I just that I want to comment on in this is this, almost every other page, our main character almost hears something and almost sees something, and every time she has an explanation. So there's something under some bushes, and she's like, I swear I see a face, and then she looks back, and then she explains it away. Oh, it's just shadows. Or oh, there's a homeless person that just happened to be following me, but when I turn around, that person's not there anymore, and oh, it's fine. And oh, there's clicking on the floor outside my door that sounds just like a dog. And then when I open the door, I just realized, oh, it's got to be just the air conditioning. It's like every other page this happens, and it like I was dying laughing it, because it's just, I get what he's trying to do, which is set up the suspense that she's being followed, but at the same time, in a 300-page book that this is happening constantly in, you would think she would be smart enough to be like, something is going on because I constantly feel like I'm being followed, but she never does. And it's just so silly. It's almost like Sleepaway Camp, when every time they're like, oh, it's you, I bet people would like to know that you're here. And you're like, okay, like I get it. Like there's somebody that we know that they know, but we're not going to tell you because of the big reveal. It was silly. This book could have been 150 pages if they just cut out all of that. So that's how much he did it in this book. So anyway, it's interesting. It was fun to read, and he at the end, Ramsey Campbell has kind of afterward, and it's his this book was his commentary on and that time in England, and their banning of horror movies and video nasties and all that
video
stuff.
Nasties.
Yeah. So this was sort of his commentary on that. So maybe that's why the movie really wasn't scary when he described it, was to be like, look, we make a big deal about nothing. And people should be able to, yeah, it's just a movie. So maybe that was all supposed to be what we were supposed to get out of it, but like if you didn't read that afterward, you wouldn't, and you would be like, oh well, I don't know what the big deal is about any of this. So I don't know. If you like Ramsey Campbell, you probably already read it or you should read it. But if you're looking, it's it wasn't as fun as I was hoping it would be, except for the silliness of that stuff that I described already. So,
and Villanay, what about you?
I've actually been consuming a lot of shit right now.
nice.
When we were in Portugal, my husband and I, we decided to watch A Cure for Wellness, I think it's called, the movie.
Oh,
how was it?
It's wild.
Was that Gore
Is it
Verbinski?
the Gore Verbinski movie?
Yes, it is. It's so funny because I had no clue who directed it, and then at the end of the movie, he said like directed by Gore Verbinski, and I was like, that makes total sense now. Like it makes.
I mean, like, he
sense.
did do The Ring.
Yeah.
Yep. This movie is bonkers. It's so wild, and it's funny. I didn't realize that Mia Goth was in it.
Wow, really?
Yeah, until I like really looked at her and was like, this face is familiar. Where have I seen this face? Who is this girl? And I went online and I'm like, this is fucking Mia Goth before she became Mia Goth that we knew today.
I'm seeing Maxine next week.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Speaking of Mia Goth.
Yeah, and Oscar Isaac is that his name? Oh, the one who played Gortash in Baldur's Gate 3.
You mean Jason Isaacs?
Jason Isaacs, yes. I always confused them together, even though they look nothing alike.
It's a name.
It's a name, yeah. Jason Isaacs, he is also in it.
It's a name.
And the actor who played Harvey Oswald in the Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield in it. The one who kind of looks like a mix between Macaulay Culkin and he looks like a mix between Macaulay Culkin and Leonardo DiCaprio. What, you saying you disagree?
I don't know. I gotta look who this person is up. I'm gonna do it right now. But so continue, and then I will come back to you.
It's about a guy who is working for kind of like a stock firm or something like that, who's given the task of retrieving one of the big headshots in that firm because he apparently
Dane DeHaan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Dane
I see his
DeHaan is who you're
picture.
thinking of.
You got it. That was a good description. He does.
Right? He just has that eeriness of Macaulay Culkin and then the semi-good looks of Leonardo DiCaprio when he was acting in the Titanic.
Amazing.
Anyway, so yeah, he's given the task of retrieving this headshot who had fled to the Swiss Alps to like this kind of wellness center in the middle of the mountains. And he goes there and there's a lot of like really wealthy people there, but they're all like old people, like old wealthy people, and they're all there just to get well and just to feel like good. And they just and of course it kind of occurs to him that none of them have ever left this facility before, like this spa. And the more he digs into it, the more weird shit is happening. To the point that he is trapped into this wellness center and he can't leave.
Oh man.
And it has a lot of weird shit. It has like kind of like almost like a folk horror vibe to it. Also feels like kind of cultish. And it has a shit ton of eels, which is horrifying.
Eels?
A lot of eels.
Okay.
So many eels. It apparently impacted my head so much that I dreamt about it like the night after, and it fucked up my head afterwards. And if you're squeamish about teeth, there's a really bad scene there also with teeth. And a lot of old people nakedness.
Okay.
So yeah, just the Gore Verbinski usual.
Yeah, you know.
but it was really good. Like I had no idea what it was about. I just had like seen just a little bit of the trailer, and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." It's like, and it's described as like a psychological thriller, and I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's more horror though when you look at it." And it's really good. Like, definitely a hidden gem, and I don't think a lot of people have been discussing it.
Yeah, like I remember it coming out. I feel like there was some mix up on it coming out, and
I think it came out during the pandemic, so that's why it probably just went hit.
Yeah, it was something weird because like I remember seeing the trailers and being like, "Oh, this looks kind of sweet." I'm always down for a weird wellness center thing.
Yeah, because it felt like it got this cultish vibe.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I'm on board. Where did you watch it on, or what did you watch it on?
I watched it on either Disney Plus or Amazon.
Okay.
It's probably on Disney Plus, I think.
Yeah, I think it's
Hulu
on
and Disney Plus have combined now, so it's
yeah. I think it might have been Plus.
I will. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
That's a movie I've been meaning to watch, but I haven't had the chance to watch it yet.
I mean, yeah, because I was on vacation, I had all the time in the world in the evening, so I'm like, yeah, we're gonna watch this movie.
And I looked up the actor too. He was Gortash's voice actor.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Is in that. I'm gonna do a kind of a quick little rapid fire of some shows I'd recommend, and I'm not gonna take too long because I do want to get into the story, but we'll go one more round. But real quick before I get started, have either of you been watching The Boys this season?
Yes.
No.
What do you think of this season, Vitlame?
So okay, I knew Eric Kripke is behind The Boys, which I love. Eric Kripke is a really good producer, director. I was not expecting him to bring God in the mix and have his dick flopping around too many times. No, we're seeing like six types of God naked fighting, and the dicks is just flopping around.
All right.
If you don't like, this is a spoiler, I guess, for Supernatural. Like, if you haven't watched Supernatural,
I never watched Supernatural. Are you talking about the dude who makes copies of himself and was licking his own ass?
Yeah.
Oh, he played God in Supernatural?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just knew the scene where they opened to the human centipede of the guy making copies of himself eating his own asshole.
Yeah, yeah. He plays God in Supernatural. That's what I was like, what? Okay, he's God and his dick. That's kind of funny. And I was like, and of course, because Eric Kripke, he also produced Supernatural, so it was like, yeah, it's a given that you bring him along.
I love, I still love how, the superhero satire is on point, but the show's getting more serious.
Yes.
Like, in the last episode, they were doing a thing where they make fun of the whole, Marvel movie announcement things.
I haven't, wait, it's the latest one that came this week, right?
Yeah.
I haven't watched it, so no.
I won't spoil anything about it, but they're doing a whole, convention where they're announcing the future movies of, the superheroes and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that's hilarious.
They bring out Tech Knight, and he's like, I'm here promoting and announcing the Tech Knight, which is a dark, brooding rebirth of my character, complete to a soundtrack of Nirvana music and a 12-minute fight scene that's in pure darkness.
Oh my god.
The entire audience just starts applauding, and the font is just like the Robert Pattinson Batman movie font on the board behind him.
That's amazing.
This season's really good. I feel like they're trying to make the show a bit more serious than the previous seasons.
Yeah, they're kind of mixing in with what today's climate is happening with.
Yeah,
I guess.
Well, I mean, I will say this: they spent last season making fun of corporations, quote unquote, going woke, or corporations kind of trying to embrace everybody, and now they're kind of doing it. So they're kind of making fun of the super what seems to be lefty corporations, and now they're taking that and putting it on the super right side of things. which is also funny in different ways, but it's also more relatable because we kind of see how out of control the right wing kind of gets in this country.
Yes.
Um,
I also really like Sister Sage. She's an interesting
Sister
character.
Sage is such a fascinating character.
Yeah.
Sister Sage, I think, is a great addition to the show. I like how you don't know what her game really is.
I think
Like
I think it's just she's bored.
I think part of it is she's bored. I think part of it is I don't know if she is planning Homelander's downfall. Because
I don't think she is like
she might be, but she has to be careful about it.
Yeah, I think she's like I think she's actually just thinking like, let's just see how far I can take this.
Well, it's also too because when Homelander's talking to her in that episode, he talks about how like human they need a leader, they need someone strong, like Caesar, and Caesar was betrayed by all his friends.
Yep.
Right, so I think that's foreshadowing to Homelander's.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can already see that with A-Train.
Yeah. But I do think the season's really good, and I can't wait for more episodes. Another I'd recommend is I finished watching The Bear, which its season just came out. I had to stay home. Personal life aside, I caretake for my grandparents, and my grandpa's had a bad week. So I've mostly been home most of the week taking care of my grandfather. And I had nothing else to do, so I might as well fucking watch The Bear. But this new season, The Bear, it's just as good as it's always been. I cried like twice. And if you like The Bear, it's more of the same for The Bear. Besides that, I haven't seen Star Wars Acolyte yet. I've heard some people say it's really good. Some people say it's really bad. I know you like it, Matt.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think
I'm going to start watching it because there's a certain character in there that looks saucy.
Have you watched? I think I know who you're talking about. Have you watched A Good Place?
I have. This is fucking Jason Mendoza, and I am so thrilled.
And
I love A Good Place.
Awesome well, I won't spoil it, but let's just say he's really good in this.
I can imagine. I've seen like an interview of them talking about the Acolyte, and just him hiding everything that is happening. It's just pure brilliance.
Yeah,
it's like they gave me a lightsaber just to hold. It was amazing, and then you're like, smart. Smooth. You asshole. And I love you.
Yeah, no, he's
one last recommendation I'm going to give, then passing over to Matt, is I watched Under the Banner of Heaven, which is on Disney Plus or Hulu.
Yeah.
And I think Matt's familiar with this show.
I read the book.
Oh God, that must have been a brutal book.
It's wild.
The show's wild. It's pretty much Mormon murders is the best way to describe it. Yeah. It's a brutal murder happens in a Mormon community. It was a real murder, real crime. And it ties back to like Mormon fundamentalism and like religious extremism and the violence that kind of gave birth to the Mormonism that we have today, which is a lot different from Mormons a while ago. But
it like, and I haven't seen the show, but John Krakauer wrote the book, so he did like Into the Air and Into the Wild and all that stuff. But he breaks down. I can't remember everything, but what I remember is just this person and how through marriage and through like blood relation, they are their like own grandmother or something. Like there's like this really weird like who they married, who they're actually blood related to, and like they somehow could be their own aunt. It was like this really weird because of how there's, I don't want to say inbreeding, but there's certain marriage acceptance and marriage acceptance within the church that made this happen, where they could be their own like aunt or something like that. So it's in there, and it's something.
Yeah. And the show gets into like the birth of the Mormon movement as well. There's all flashbacks that take place with what's his face, the founder of the Mormons,
That John Smith.
John Smith.
Yeah, one of
It
those
goes
two
the
names.
whole goes his whole thing as well. Like the show gets into the history of everything, which is like I think important to do for it. But like they have a fictional element of the show where the murders are being investigated by a detective who's also a Mormon, and he's played by Andrew Garfield, who was also Spider-Man. Bring another Spider-Man reference into into our thing. Yeah, he was also Spider-Man, and he plays a Mormon detective who, learning about this murder and learning more about Mormon fundamentalism, shakes his faith, and you kind of follow him as he like essentially loses his faith as he dives more and more into this case.
That's a cool turn. I like that.
Which I think is fitting for the story. But that's it for me. Matt, what about you?
Yeah, so I read a really crazy book that I don't think very many people are talking about, and it just came out. It's called Doomsday Daytrip by Rob Ramierez. And this is a very satirical, post-apocalyptic, sort like just post-apocalyptic story. Very satirical, so I will put that in there. Like as you're reading it, like just it's all a joke. Basically, it's follows a couple different people. It follows a family, the Hall family, and the husband father believes all of America's ills are based on this guy that owns a candy factory. That the reason America is this post-apocalyptic wasteland is because of this person, and so they are going to go and assassinate this candy owner, and they take an RV and they make it into this Mad Max ultimate weapon, and they join a group called the Grippers, which is a very extreme right-wing group, and which happens to be the father's brother-in-law is kind of the leader of this, and so they're all going to go together, and they are very right wing. Let's say they have lots of those views, and this is what's happening. So we're following them. So we're following that family, and we get breakdowns between it's a brother and a sister, and then the wife. And the wife's like, again, satirical, very on board. Husband knows all. The husband makes the final decision. And I agree with everything he says. So this is what's wrong with America. I'm going along with it. The children, on the other hand, are going because they sort of have to, and the world is already in this post-apocalyptic wasteland. So there's not a lot to do. But as we kind of see, they both have plans to ditch their parents and either meet up with either boyfriend or possibly boyfriend for the son. And so you have that. Then you have a little bit of follow of the owner of this candy thing, who is something when I can't remember his name right now, but he because he's a CEO and he's portrayed as just a big toolbox as well. And he sees women as nothing more than things to be used. And he doesn't understand he just wants people to give him lots of money. And the world is at the end, but whatever, as long as they're buying his candy, it's cool. So you follow him and you're not really cheering him on either. And then you follow two people that work in his giant mansion. One of them is his assistant and another one is a cleaner of the house. And basically it just turns into this crazy bloodbath of insanity as this right-wing group breaks into this house, and they very allusions to January 6th, and so that's this type of people, and they are obviously sort of all clueless, but they have enough people that they sort of make their way and make it work. The CEO, his people, or his security forces are like, these are just right-wing idiots. They're not gonna be able to do anything, but through idiocy, they figure out a way to stop these security guards, And this book is absolutely wild. Again, it's very satirical and it's supposed to be funny. Everyone is being made fun of in this. So the right-wing group is absolutely made fun of throughout all of this. And you're just kind of watching this train wreck happen and you're like, nobody's a good person and they're all idiots. And it's an absolute blast. It's over the top craziness. And I just had a blast. I think Rob Ramierez did something amazing with this and just had so much fun making fun of everybody and pointing out just the insanity of right-wing groups following right-wing groups, how CEOs are terrible people. Just everything in this is just nobody like the only people we kind of like are obviously the cleaner and the assistant, and good things happen to them. So I will put it that way. But no, this is it's flying under a lot of radars, which is unfortunate because I think this is a really funny book. Definitely worth checking out. Doomsday Daytrip, Rob Ramierez.
Nice.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I like didn't know what to expect, but Ben as Rat, who wrote The Music Is Over, he's in direct. So I don't know what the story is, but he is the only person that can talk to Rob Ramierez and the only person that takes his books and puts them into places to get published. So there's a whole funny backstory there that I don't know. But Ben had suggested it and I like Ben's stuff. So I was like, I'm on board. And yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. So hunt it down.
Awesome. And Vitlame, what about you?
I know we've already discussed it already, and we actually had Todd Kiesling on our show, but I did finish his short story collection called Black and Infinite.
Oh, you know, it's funny because I read that a few weeks ago too.
Really?
I wasn't on that episode, so I did.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
It was really good. For some reason, really like my favorite stories. As I mentioned when we were talking on the show, I did like the whole dark, the Hallmark satire horror wrote a story that he wrote. It was really fun.
That one's a good one.
But I also just really loved the anti-capitalism cosmic horror stories that he did.
Yes.
Those really they really stuck with me, especially the one with the eyes.
The eyes in the screen.
Yeah.
Yes. That was the business ones were really cool. I really dug what he was doing with that.
It was really, really good. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm pretty sure you enjoyed the Ligotti inspired one that he wrote.
At the Smile Factory.
Yeah.
There was a couple in there that were definitely Ligotti inspired, but I think that one, and what was the other one? There is another one that there's
another one that he dedicated to Ligotti and John Paget.
Yes. But yeah, I really did enjoy those. But all the stories in there, I really dug.
Yes, they were really, really good. I also really like the one with the demon that the woman was birthing because he wanted a child. I was like, that idea is so bonkers, but at the same time, you know what? Wouldn't surprise me if this was actually happening right now.
So, seriously.
If you guys haven't checked out Todd Kiesling's short story collection called Black and Infinite, you should definitely check it out. He has really great stories, and I also love the fact that some of the stories have a connection to his other book, Devil's Creek. So it's really nice to go back to that particular universe again, because that universe or that world in Devil's Creek is fucked up.
Yeah, it did make me want to go back and read Devil's Creek again, because I was trying to remember everything and what this was alluding to for some of the things. So I was like, I might go back.
I read Devil's Creek last year, so that's why it was still kind of fresh in my memory when I read the short stories.
Yeah.
So it's I remember that. And then, I remember that too. Oof. I do like the fact that he managed to have like a connection to most of the stories there.
Yes. Yeah. No, I
need to reread Devil's Creek.
Yeah. I just reread earlier this year. Well, reread Liminal Man and then the second one of that monochrome trilogy. So like, yeah, I've been on Kiesling kick this year apparently. So
I think you'll appreciate that.
I felt so bad for Kiesling with the Liminal Man books coming out through Bloodshot Books and having that whole shit happen with Pete.
Yeah, he was at Kiesling was at Scarelastic this year, and I was like, went up and was like, hey, you've been on my show, and every time you've been on my show, I've not been there. So, but I was like, oh, I gotta buy your other book because I read your first one of this trilogy, and he's like, yeah, it's the Cursed Trilogy. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, but I really like them.
But how about we dive into some old school Hollywood and cursed films?
Yes. And Poland.
And Poland.
Yeah.
With Mark Samuels with The Age of Decayed Futurity, which is in his collection. You can get on Amazon, called The Age of Decayed Futurity, the best of Mark Samuels. It is on Kindle Unlimited, and it's only like a couple bucks for the Kindle anyway. I think like $6.
Yeah.
So it's not too expensive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like right from the start, I think I'm glad you picked this because everything we said at the beginning, like we've been seeing posts about this person passing away recently and having not read it. And so reading this story, I was like, okay, I'm on board. This is cool. He's doing some really neat things with this. And sometimes I'm a sucker for a story within a story, and this is definitely a story within a story. And it
does that trope really well, the story within the story trope.
And
yes, it really, really does.
It does make you question some things when you get to the end. So.
Yes, which is good. It's like it kind of leaves you an open ending, but at the same time it doesn't. Like flat out doesn't, but at the same time the reader's like, does it though?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it just kind of makes. I think it probably will make every person who has read the story like be a conspiracy theory nut.
Yes.
Oh man!
Because this one goes into conspiracy theories.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, which like we discovered at the opening of this episode. Yeah. So like it starts out, we're following a writer who's writing their fourth book, and it talks about this whatever the group is, but it's what's her name is, it's funny, like it's like Joanna, right?
Yeah, Joanna Wolski.
It's
Joanna
Wolski.
She
it takes a few pages to get to her introduction.
Yeah,
it's interesting that we've at first I thought, because this is written by a guy, I thought the narrator was a guy, and then suddenly, no, my name is Joanna Wolski. I'm like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah, I was, that it is kind of like, I guess that's just to keep us on our toes. But yeah. I love
one of her.
No, you go ahead, Rich.
I was gonna say, I love like after we like get her name and she's kind of talking about her backstory and how she's a best-selling writer and stuff like that. Yeah, and it just goes one line I think through 6 is any honest liar can write acclaimed fiction.
Well, and I think that gives us a lot, like right.
And it does. That whole line I think sets up a lot for the story.
Even like, especially even what it comes after, because so she's struggling. Her agent said, go to this place. I'm going to be there with you. You need to write this book. And she is struggling to come up with a new idea. And that's why she's deciding to talk about this group. We get a hint about cigarette burns on her skin because she's just doing that to herself. And then we also get to feel something. And we get this line, which I thought, bringing up to your line, just this talk about like the pain temporarily distracts me from the anguish I still feel at the loss of my very dear late husband. And then the next line is, any honest liar can write acclaimed fiction. So you're kind of like, oh, was the marriage not good either? It was like, so you're already kind of like put off of like off kilter, where you're kind of like, okay, well, like, how much of this are we going to believe? What's happening? Why, this weird hotel and this everything, it is keeping us on our toes. Plus, like, we can't not talk about right from the start the language use. There's a lot of very big words in.
Oh yes. It feels at times pretentious, especially at the beginning.
I was thinking that too. I'm like rereading the line, and I was like, okay, I guess it's fine that you used whatever word. I'm not gonna dig through and find it, but it's fine that you used whatever word you did. But like, you could have shortened this sentence just by saying it was funny or whatever.
It just felt to me like I was reading like 19th century classic horror, and I'm like, wait, this guy, he just died a couple of months ago, didn't he?
I think part of it is him trying to mimic the voice of the era.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it as well is, and yay, I get to use my English degree for a podcast.
Right.
I think a lot of it as well is a lot of foreign writers who write English as a second or even third language. When they write in English, their language is very verbose. Like Joseph Conrad.
I can't say that.
I know you can't say that, but like
I can't say that. No, I've been heavily influenced by American culture, so nope, that's it.
Well,
that's not
also
happening.
Because it's also because it's modern day. Let's think like a while ago.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you've ever read Joseph Conrad, which like I like Joseph Conrad, but if you've ever read Joseph Conrad, that dude learned English as a fourth language on sailboats.
Oof.
And he's such a verbose motherfucker in his writing.
That's true.
It just makes you to think like, why? Like he learned English through sailors, and yet like he's more verbose than half of the English writers at his time. Or if you take fucking what's his name? The dude who wrote Lolita. Nabokov, yeah. Vladimir Nabokov. English was like a third language to him, and he's also one verbose motherfucker. Like, I've read a lot of Nabokov. He's a verbose motherfucker, and I feel like the whole Eastern European learning English, writing in English in like the 60s and 70s or beforehand, the writers tended to be more verbose, maybe to either prove a point, or that was just kind of to show their efficiency in the English language, essentially.
Yeah,
but I feel like he's mimicking that kind of style because our author is a Polish author from that time period. So I feel like it mimics that kind of writing style from like that those types of writers would use. And especially the Russian sci-fi stuff from like the 60s and 70s is also very verbose.
Though this is set now.
This is set now, yeah. But even so, a lot of those writers still kind of keep that style up as they're writing.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're getting she's retelling this story about the reassembly cartel, which is supposed to be this group behind the group, behind all the power in the world, and they own continents, and they control the media, and they control everything, and they whatever groups like that want. They want to control everything because that's what they want to do. So we're finding out about this through a dinner party, being at the dinner party, an actor who's got a really grotesque looking face is telling disfigurement is telling how they escaped this reassembly cartel and the truth behind it all. So we have somebody writing a book that's going to be about the reassembly cartel, but then we're also now digging into who the reassembly cartel is, sort of kind of via this actor and who this actor interacted with.
Yeah. And it connects the assembly cartel to like the moon landing or the CIA being behind 9/11 or like lizard people, all that fun stuff. Aliens.
All of it. So then so we get into I'm guessing 80s horror 80s Hollywood, somewhere in that area, maybe. And this Hollywood somebody from where was the director? The director was from Sweden? No. I could look it up. The director was from somewhere.
He was also Polish.
Was he? Okay, I couldn't remember if he.
He was also Polish because the Polish actor, he talked to him in Polish, and then he was like, "I've been like living in England for so long that I don't even use my mother tongue," or something like that. Yeah, it was like felt really condescending. I was like, "Wow, that's not nice."
So
especially for the guy, because he was like, I have an edge in this. I have the upper hand because I'm Polish and he's Polish. And if I speak to him in our mother tongue, I'm definitely going to get the part. and then the director's like, no, bitch.
Yeah. It's basically like, you're part of the problem, but maybe that, like, there's a lot of pretension in this and a very interesting look at Hollywood, because this actor who know, like, basically, and it's commentary on a lot of different creative fields, I would say, but this actor is like, I know the number one person to look out for is yourself. Only compliment people if they can do something good for you. Do these small movies so you can do into the big movies, and that's he all like following this path. He's like, I'm gonna be a big star. And so the only way to do this big star is basically kind of to screw people over and or to use people. And when he hears that this pretentious director who bucked the system and is going independent is at this party, that's when he uses the mother tongue, uses Polish to kind of try to like weasel his way in, because I think he thinks that this director is gonna help shoot him up to the top.
Oh yeah, he thinks he's like, this is my golden star.
Yeah, and so like you kind of have that interesting look at an actor, and then you have a look at this director who's like, who made a bunch of big Hollywood movies, but then suddenly is realizing like, oh, there's this reassembly cartels behind it, and Hollywood's the problem, and too many people look at their phones and pay attention to screens and all this stuff. So I'm gonna make a movie out of the system that's gonna talk about all of this, and I'm going to show everybody.
Put the system to question.
And so
I'm going to show everybody the system.
You're just supposed to ignore, and even the actor says in the story, he's like, you're just supposed to ignore that he did make all these Hollywood movies, and he does have all this money from making these movies. So like, just ignore that part of it and just listen to him now.
Yeah, how removed is he from the system, really?
Yeah. So yeah, you kind of have this set up, and then it goes into the making of the movie, and I don't even remember if we actually get much into what the movie is about, but you definitely hear about all the people in the movie, tragedy happening to all these people, which again reminded me of the Ancient Images book I read, because that was the same thing. All the people on the movie set, bad things were happening to them, and it's the same thing here.
I did like when he mentioned hey, you remember remember Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, and so I was like, yes, I have, and I do not have a good feeling about this.
Was it like a key grip dies in an accident?
Yeah.
Yeah, and people
just vanishes, like disappears.
Go missing.
People vanish.
And he just keeps saying, this director is like, I got the money, I'll just keep hiring new crews until we can make this thing. And then that's like, also when you start seeing the turn for the actor's like, well, I'm going to take all this information and sell it, and I'm going to step on this guy's toes. So again, nobody's good in this.
No.
So yeah.
Everyone's trying to get something out of this.
You get then there's like a big car accident, and that's what I can't remember if the director, now I'm like trying to flip through whatever happens to the director. But like, well, yeah, so that's kind of where the story goes, is that our actor then gets into a car accident as he's leaving the house. And then we go into now back to the writer, and the writer now kind of like believing all of this, and which all of this scene is just great because it's just like she's sitting outside writing just nonstop. She's got like frostbite, gangrene, and she watched TV for a couple days, right, to like get in the mindset, and that's when she started realizing that there was secret messages in television, and it completely changes into this like weird paranoid thing, which I loved.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
Just like, yeah, I thought that was really cool, and like just she's writing pages and pages, and like she's crawling around or worming her way around. She's watching outside static, and she's just it's
basically like her like hand is glued to the pen.
Yeah.
It's like she doesn't want.
And she's trying to write what she's seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
It was really good. Yeah, and like even though she was like on the floor, she was still writing. Yeah. And like and having frostbite in her hand, like in her fingers, like still writing. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the dream, isn't it? That's the dream of every writer.
Like it reminded me of what's that story that we did with Todd Kiesling, The Nightwire, when like
oh yeah,
the person keeps on typing even after he's dead, but his corpse is still typing.
Yes. It kind of felt like that, yeah. And like she did mention like in the beginning that she wrote like wasn't what 400 pages?
Yeah, it was about 400 pages.
And she did it in like 2 weeks. I'm like, bitch, how the fuck?
Right?
And like she said at the beginning, like, yeah, it took me 2 weeks. I'm like, fuck you, man. How? And there's like, I didn't sleep at all. Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Meth also, yeah, probably meth.
Probably meth. I'm kind of a bit close to the story, but it's similar to like just her talking about the TV static and the Big Bang, and just like how the dead are controlling all the information and trying to like brain control the living.
Yeah. It's how she was like looking into the real world and then realizing that our world wasn't that.
Yes. I like how you guys both read this on the Kindle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you notice there's only one highlight for like everybody?
No, I didn't see that.
Nope. So I have an ancient Kindle, so they probably didn't pick up on that.
So there's only one highlight, and it's near the end of the story, but it is the future is already finished. It's over, and what we're getting is advance notice as the nature of time itself begins to rot away.
Yeah, we didn't that and now I'm flipping through, I'm getting to that stuff, and yeah, that was why she started, is that this actor is like telling her like that the reassembly cartels from the future and they're dead, but they're broadcasted through because the broadcast like travels forever through like airwaves and space, and so they're
trying to turn all of us modern day to brainless zombies that regurgitate broadcast information.
Yeah, which is just like really that's the like the
which
the
is so fucking cynical. Like
just like that reminds me of, I think it was Dennis Hutchinson when that was the audience, the canned laughter story where it was like
that was a good one. I like The Audience.
Yeah, that one's like just for listeners, that's the very, very basic gist of that story is the canned laughter we hear on television is probably dead people, and there's a family that keeps watching a certain show because they're positive that laughter is their son. And so, but anyway, that's kind of like, I was thinking about that for this, where it's just this idea of like what we're watching are these dead people, like the broadcast is like from the dead of the future coming back to the now or to the past. And so it's just like they're forcing us to do that. And that's when the writer's like watching television, she can kind of see it and she's like, oh shit. So that's what she's putting in this book. But I also I talked about the director, and I wanted to go back just real quick because now I kind of remember that like 2 weeks after our actor left because of the accident, the director was found dead. Well, it wasn't even found. All they found in his bed was just green vomit everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just a wild imagery of like what this is and what that meant. And that was the, I'm assuming in this world would have been a Hollywood mystery of where did the director go and all that stuff. But it's just lots of great imagery in this and ideas to kind of like look over, which was just super awesome. I think we can get to the end spoiler talk because that's like a good spot.
Yeah.
I want to question.
Yeah.
So spoiler anyway, we've talked about it. Pick up this book or collection.
And there's plenty of stories in this collection.
Yeah. So
this is just one of many.
Yeah. So the ending we get is that the writer, like we said, is frozen writing while she's on the ground, her hands, all that stuff, and 400 pages. And then we cut to the agent being like, yeah, she was crazy. She died. And all the pages just have numbers on them.
Yeah.
And also a lot of weird shit also as well.
Yeah.
It's like mystical gibberish, geometrical signs scrawled on those crumpled empty pages. And then I do like the ending, what he says. Naturally, I destroyed them for the sake of a reputation. I'm like, are you one of them?
Well, and that was gonna be my question. Was that part like, are we to believe that she actually didn't write anything? Or do you think she actually didn't write anything? And is the agent lying?
I think that it's meant to make us question everything.
Yeah, I mean, hey. It's a conspiracy theory. Question everything.
Exactly. I think it was definitely meant to be that because the story itself is about conspiracy theories, and then the ending is just one big whole conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I think the ending's made for you to question everything because the story's about conspiracy. Like Whitney said, it's about conspiracy theories, so it makes sense it's going to end on a conspiracy theory.
Yeah. Well, yeah, which is just I love it because you're just like, well, wait, what's the truth here? And like, even like they talk about the party and she was just screaming her head off, which oh my god.
I feel like honestly, like this section with the agent just saying that, I feel almost like I'm watching the X-Files and Mulder is actually the one talking to him, and he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I want to rewind a bit, Matt, saying like with conspiracies, like what's the truth here? Who knows what the truth is? I know the truth.
Oh, do you?
It's the Jews.
Is it not the spice?
It's not the spice. I had to do that. Connected back to earlier.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. People are gonna be like, "What is happening?"
But I'm gonna be like super serious for a moment. Any one of our listeners, if you're vaguely interested in conspiracy theories or think conspiracy theories are fun or kind of cool, which they are. Like the UFO conspiracies in the 90s, I was all about that shit. Bigfoot, all about that shit. Like all the cryptid stuff, I'm all fucking there. But like conspiracy theories now, it's just the Jews. Like if you follow any conspiracy theory to its end nowadays, it's just people blaming stuff on the Jews.
Yeah.
And like this is coming from a Jewish person. It's kind of fucked up. And by kind of fucked up, I mean really fucked up. But I also think conspiracy theories are a way for people to try to make sense of the world around them.
Yeah.
Because some people have trouble accepting that the world is chaos.
Yeah.
That life is chaos. And by having a conspiracy theory, you're able to at least like believe that this wasn't the result of chaos. This was the result of something. Even if oftentimes it ends up being the Jews, it's still someone trying to understand the world because they refuse to accept the world as chaos.
Exactly. They need somebody to blame, and they need something that happen. Yeah, they need that chaos explained. They need something out there to be like, well, it has to happen because I believe in orderly stuff because I'm a human, and so if this happened and it's not fit into my orderly world, then it's got to be X. It's got to be this reassembly cartel in the background messing things up.
It's gonna be someone doing something, some shadow people doing something in the secret that is affecting us now. Speaking of, if anyone is interested in conspiracy theories and extremism, there's a very good episode of the Hulu show Monsterland.
Oh,
you saw Monsterland, right, Matt?
I think I saw most of that. Yeah.
Did you see episode 2 with the shadow people?
Yes.
That's about conspiracy theories. That's literally about radicalization.
Huh. Yeah.
Because the shadow people are Jews. The shadow people are meant to represent Jewish people, and our protagonist, who's that kid who's down on his luck, right? And like he feels like the whole world's working against him. He loses his job. He can't go to school because he has to work to make money. His mom's really sick. His life's failing around him, and he can't understand why. But then he's playing an online game, and the people are like, hey, we know the source of your problems. It's those shadow people no one else can see. You can see them though, right? Yeah, I know you can see them. And then the show makes it seem that the shadow people are real, which leads him to commit like a shooting in real life. But it's supposed to be a metaphor for conspiracy theories and Jewish people, especially knowing that the story that one's based off of is the Nathan Bulligrand story called SS, which is about someone turning to white supremacy extremism.
Jeez.
So like, if you're interested in that kind of through line thinking or that topic, I think episode 2 of Monsterland is a great representation of how conspiracy theories lead to extremism.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got off topic. I feel like I had
No, it's good. Gosh, that show that came out, it feels like nobody talking about that show.
Oh.
But anyway, show. Yeah, this is a great story, and I'm definitely going to read this collection.
Yeah, it is a really great story. I'm going to read more from the collection as well. I'll get a story or topic for us for next week.
Nice.
But again, for listeners, this is available on Amazon. It's pretty cheap. It's got a lot of stories in there, and I'm excited to check out more of this author. I wish I got to read him when he was still alive.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of bummed it took until this guy died. He'd be like, hey, wait a minute, who is this guy?
Yeah, right? That's exactly.
That kind of sucks. Like, I wish I could have known him when he was alive or read his stuff when he was alive. Been excited for his new publications coming out.
Yeah.
But, Matt, where can listeners get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at BrandenburgDM, and my website is matt-brandenburg.com.
And Vinlame, what about you? I got a website, Matt.
I'm also on Twitter, mine at Vinlame S, mostly there at the moment, but I'm in. My plan is to update my website, vinlamemistauthor.com, soon.
Perfect. And I am just on the Abyss Twitter with Add Into Staring, and you can find me on Facebook under my name, Richard Gerlach. But this is Richard Gerlach saying, keep staring.